Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Dreamcatcher webinar series. My name is Dinora Gonzalez, and I am the project manager for Project Dreamcatcher. The Freeport McMoran Foundation created this program in partnership with Endeavor for Good. Dreamcatcher is a free business program that is for Native American women entrepreneurs. Since COVID-19, we're trying to pivot, and we are doing these trainings and sessions online so we can provide you with important information that you need to know, especially when you are a small business owner. And we are super happy, and we are very delighted that we have these two ladies from the Business Center, the Minority Business Development Agency Business Center, Alika and Yvette. And I'm going to introduce now my student worker, Sandra, and she's going to give the background of these ladies today.
I just want to say hello as well. Thank you to everyone joining us today. I want to give a warm welcome to our hosts, Alika and Yvette. As both ladies have an extensive background, Alika currently serves as the Executive Director of the MBDA Business Center, and Yvette as a business consultant for the MBDA Business Center as well. So now I'll let you ladies both take it away and expand from here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. My name, again, is Alika Kumar, and I'm the director of the Phoenix MBDA Business Center. And a little bit about the business that I'm just going to, sorry about this. First of all, thank you so much to the Dreamcatcher program for giving us this opportunity to speak with everyone today and to talk about some pressing issues that everybody is concerned with. But really appreciate the opportunity. Our MBDA Business Center is actually federally funded by the Minority Business Development Agency, which is part of the US Department of Commerce. They have centers like ours throughout the country. And we are locally operated here by the Arizona Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Our job is to help minority-owned businesses scale up their business. So we work with companies that are either in high-growth industries or make at least $1 million a year in revenue. However, like I said, if they're in high-growth industry or if we think we can add value and help them grow, we work with them. The companies that we work with are minority businesses as defined by the US federal government. So it includes African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Native Americans, Asian Pacific Americans, Alaskan Aleuts, Asian Indians, Eskimos, and Hasidic Jews. So what do we do at the center? We actually provide any kind of business consulting a company needs to help scale up their business. We help find access to contracting opportunities. That means we will help them identify what sort of certifications are best fit for them, get them certified, and then give them access to bid opportunities. So we look for different bid opportunities and connect our clients to that. We also help them get funding when they need it, maybe working capital or bonding or anything like that. And then we also help clients find teaming partners. We provide workshops and seminars like the one today. And we do a lot of business to business matchmaking sessions. We also help provide guidance for exporting. So those are our services in a nutshell. So what are we going to talk about today? So the pandemic has everyone, looking, giving a second look at their businesses to see what can you do differently? How do you survive this? How do there are changes to your business model. So how do you survive? So we're going to look at new strategies that you can use to strengthen your business and not just survive, but thrive, even through the pandemic and maybe any other natural disasters or emergencies or downturns that might come along. So we have a two-step approach today. I will be talking about pivot strategies that you can use to adjust your business strategies, your current business strategies to keep your business running. And then Yvette Uriondo is going to talk about what you need to do to keep your finances secure, right? What do you need to take a second look at? What can you change? What should you pay attention to to make sure your business stays resilient and sustainable. So pivot strategies, what does that even mean? Everybody's using the word pivot strategies these days, right? So think of a surfer, they're trying to ride the wave, and they don't just have one particular technique or strategy that they're going to use. It depends on what the shape of the wave is, what the height of the wave is, and they adjust accordingly, right, to ride the wave. So a strategy pivot is the all-important step, the changes that you make between failure and giving up. You don't want to give up, right? You don't want to give up. You want your business to survive. So you do have to think about what do you need to change to ride that wave. So what is pivoting, and then why should you even pivot? So basically a pivot is anytime you change a business strategy because there are external or internal factors that are pushing you to do that. It could mean that the market has changed. It could mean the environment has changed. The economy has changed. It could be that a new competitor has come into the marketplace. That means you need to respond in a different way, or you need to strengthen what you're already doing, right? And sometimes it's customer demand. So right now there's a huge demand, for example, for PPE stuff. So, the plastic guards between, the grocery store checkout person and you, or even at the nail salons or whatever, or it could mean the masks. So, there are new customer demands that weren't there in the marketplace before, but now are. So, it could be something like that. And I'm just talking about PPE because we're in the middle of a pandemic, but for your particular business, there might be a different kind of customer demand. So Valentina does fashion, and for her, it may be there's a new kind of legging that's come along, or a new kind of top, or a new style. And maybe she hasn't incorporated that into hers, or maybe she can do it even better, right? And so how do you adjust so you stay on top of the market and your business, doesn't become stale? And the truth is that none of the successful businesses that are still around are still doing what they started out planning to do, right? And I'll give you some examples. So in 1868, there was a mining engineer. His name is Frederick Edestam. He was in southwestern Finland, and he established a wood pulp mill near the riverbanks. Well, he was, not only doing the wood pulp, but in about 30 years, he realized he could be producing electricity because of the way the wood mill works. So by the end of the 19th century, he started selling electricity. Well, soon after that, the company went public. Then they started manufacturing with their largest shareholder. They went into another business. They became a rubber factory. After that, they became a cable manufacturer, and then they became a builder of electronics. By 1992, they made their first mobile phone and sold off every other portion of their business, right? So they just decided to focus on mobile phones. Now remember, they started out as a wood pulp mill, and now they're selling cell phones. By September 2013, they became the largest seller of mobile phones. Yes, we're talking about Nokia. And by the end of 2013, they sold Nokia to Microsoft for $7.17 billion. Now, Mr. Frederick Edestam was a very small, he was an individual with a very small business, started on the riverbanks near his house, and now, he sold it to Microsoft for $7.17 billion. Of course, it was many, many years after. But the point of it is that nobody stays the way they started out. Your plan changes, evolves to times, and basically you're in it to do well and provide what the market needs, right? Other examples of successful companies who have changed are Gap. Gap actually started out as a San Francisco area record store that sold Levi's. And from the Levi's, they decided, oh, jeans sell, make a lot of money. Why don't we start our own apparel store? And then there you have it. Gap is huge. PayPal, for example, was originally making security software for handheld devices. And YouTube, I didn't know this until I started my research, was a video dating site. Who knew, right? Twitter used to do podcasts, and today, I mean, even the president is using it, right? Uh, and then you have Netflix. It used to be a DVD mail order business, and now they are, I mean, they're being used. They offer their subscription services worldwide, and you know, while the mail order business went out of business, they are still surviving and staying on top of it. So they rode that wave and are able to, and you know, adjusted their business model to give what the market needs. And so they're here to be, you know, to stay for at least a while. And Wrigley, the Wrigley company originally sold baking soda, and they manufactured this chewing gum and it was just meant to be an incentive for people to buy more baking soda. And that's how Wrigley's chewing gum started. Suzuki started out making weaving loom machines. And then they decided, well, we're making these kinds of machines, and you know, motor vehicles were coming into the repertoire. And so they decided, okay, we can make cycle motors, and they started with the Suzuki bikes. And the founder of Avon, he used to be a door-to-door book salesman. And he decided he's going to expand his business a little bit. He started selling perfumes, and the rest is history, right? Now, you know, who hasn't heard of Avon? So these are companies that started out one way, but adjusted according to the market and became even bigger and better than ever they could have ever imagined, or if they had stayed the same. So there's something to be said for pivoting. So when you find yourself at crossroads and things are changing and you're confused and you're not sure what to do, think about, what is it about your business that you can change to meet what the market needs? There is something that you can do in order to respond. So what do you need to change to meet new opportunities? Do you need to change who you're selling your product or service to? Or maybe you don't need to change that. Maybe you just need to expand that. Maybe you have not considered customers before that actually might want a version of what you're producing right now. So think about that. And then what about your channels? How are you distributing right now? Perhaps, you know, you go to physical expos, or you know, have physical booths or tables where you sell your product. Well, now we're all isolating and we're not out there. So how do you still sell your product? Maybe you need to go online, right? Maybe, and then how do you promote your business? How do people get to know that you're there online? So you have to figure out new ways of, you know, getting into the online selling world. It may be you have to start marketing on Twitter. Maybe you have to go on Instagram. One may be a better fit than the other. Maybe you want to be on all. It doesn't, you know, it depends on what your product or service is. But there are ways of doing it. Maybe it's just a website you need, and then, you know, be able to push that website out and make it more visible. And then maybe all of that you already have in place and it's working well. Like, you don't need to change any of those things. Maybe you just need to change how you're generating revenue. For example, say you're providing a service and people just pay for that service when they use it. What if you created a subscription? Now think about the, you know, we have a lot of the massage, like Massage Envy and other places like that. Most people would just go in for a massage, pay the one time and come away, right? But they've decided to offer a subscription. If you pay a certain amount, you get a discount, and then you can come in every month and get a massage. Now they have a steady, client base, right? So what can you change? Can you change how you're pricing your product or service? Do you need to, you know, reduce it, or do you need to increase it? Do you need to cut down your costs? And what are the resources that you're using? Do you need to cut back on your resources that you're using? Can you do the same? Can you produce the same level of quality and service that you have, and reduce some of your, you know, the resources that you're using, or maybe you can use new resources to improve them? And what activities are you engaged in, and what have you not looked at or avoided that maybe you should take a second look at that might help you in the current condition? And then who are you partnering with? Do you have a network? Do you have word of mouth advertising? Are there other people who can help promote your business? You can promote theirs and they can promote yours and everyone benefits. So what can you pivot over there? And then how do you acquire your customers? How do you find them? Is it just through word of mouth? Do they find you by accident, or do you advertise to find them? Can you change anything there? Can you add anything? Are there other channels of acquisition? Do you need to network with different organizations? Do you need to reach out to other parts of the market segment? So those are some of the things you can think about. And basically pivoting is solving problems in a new way, right? You are in the market because you provide something that somebody else wants and they're willing to pay for it. So, so here are some different angles of pivoting. A customer problem pivot. So, if I'm selling a product, if I go to somebody and say, here's what I'm selling, are you interested? That's one way to sell it. But wouldn't it be better if I can solve somebody else's problem and say, I have a product that can solve this problem of yours? Which would be a better sell to you? What would make you want to take my product or service better, right? So if you're solving my problems, I'm going to think, yes, I don't need more problems. If you can solve my problems, I'm happy to take that on if it's reasonable, and then market segment. Maybe your market segment has changed. Maybe millennials that you never thought about want your product or service. Maybe, or maybe they're not the ones and you're on a certain social media platform that's mostly targeting to millennials, but that's not your segment. So you have to figure out, are you on the right platform, right? Sorry. Do you need to change technology? Do you need to go online? Do you need to change anything there? And then what about your product? If you're selling a product, can you change anything to solve new problems? Like I said, maybe it's a new kind of, if you're producing things with fabric, maybe you can provide some of the gowns that are needed or the masks that are needed nowadays. Or maybe it could be a new fashion statement, or and I'm just taking that fashion as an example because I know Valentina's on and I don't know who else is on, but I'm just taking that as an example. So what about your product? Can you change or, just modify a little bit to solve new problems in the marketplace? So think ahead and think about solving problems that don't exist, but you think, sometimes what happens in the marketplace, you find products or services that you can't live without, but you didn't even know existed last year, right? So like nowadays everybody has a cell phone, but there were many decades that I've lived through, we never had cell phones. It was not a need to have, but now you couldn't live without it, right? So what can you create that nobody wants to live without, right? Can you change something and bring something new to the market? And then the sales channel, are you selling through the right channels? And I've addressed that a little earlier, where maybe you look at new avenues where you can sell your product. And then, and I talked about the product versus services. Maybe you sell a product, like a technology company might sell a software program, but now the people can just buy the program and then be done with it. Like they have Photoshop services, or there are many software programs like Photoshop, and I'm forgetting all the different ones, there are many of them on the market. But instead of just selling the software, now they give you a subscription. You can't really buy the DVD. You have to get the subscription and pay monthly fees. Now they have a regular income stream, right? We don't like it, but they're making money. And then do you have a new competitor in the marketplace that you need to worry about? Those are things to look at. Finally, I want to look at some tips for success. So I've talked about, focusing on solving customer problems. So focus on the problem rather than the product you have that you want to sell. What problem are you solving? You can sell a lot more if you can solve somebody's problem. And then what is the value that you're bringing a customer? Clarify and be clear in your mind what value you're bringing to the customer so that you can tell them about the value you're bringing, and maybe the customer feedback allow you to add even more value. So be open to, getting feedback and understand the competitive environment. How are other people who are in the same line of business as you, how are they performing? What do they offer their customers that you may be and you may not be? How are they performing it? And what can you do better? Because why should people come to you versus your competitor, right? What is your competitive advantage? So focus on what makes you special, what makes you different, and how can you be the one that people want to go to? And then sometimes you might have an idea for a new product or service. Test the market first. Don't put in all your life savings into that one thing thinking this is going to be the next thing, next best thing on the planet, unless you've tested the market. Make sure you've seen how people are responding to it. They may or may not love it as much as you. Nobody loves your baby as much as you love your baby, right? So make sure you're testing the market. And then create the plan and then decide and make sure that your whole team is behind you. Who, everybody that's part of your business, make sure that they all, are on the same page and that everybody knows what they need to do. And you have to, clarify what is going to change. What do you need to change to get to that, to completing that plan, to achieving your vision, to achieving the success you desire. And so align all your resources. Talk to the people who are your suppliers. Talk to your vendors. Talk to, and then make sure everything is aligned with your new vision and your new plan and your new idea. And most importantly, you have to communicate. When you're shifting direction, when you're pivoting your strategies, you need to talk to not only your internal customers, so all of the people who work for you, but also the ones outside, right? Tell them what you're doing differently and how, and be clear on how that's going to impact everybody else. And stay on top of it. There will be obstacles. There are always obstacles, but make sure that you're always having a positive outlook and that you're solving the problems in a positive way so everyone ends up happy no matter what the situation. They know that you're there for them. Okay.
Alika.
And then remember to take to look at all of the external and internal data trends. What is the market showing? What are your financial statements showing? Are you generating money or are you just breaking even? Are you cutting costs the best you can to make sure you have the most amount of profit? And you might have several products or several services that you offer. One offers, one generates more revenue than the other. Which is the best choice for you? Do you want to streamline that, or do you want to continue to spend, your time and energy on all of the different strategies? So, make sure you assess all that. You don't have to change everything, but you can at least do an assessment so you're making the best choices for your company, and then figure out which is the most efficient choice for you and your company, your vision, your goal, your values. And so focus on what's working best and grow that. And don't be afraid to change. Like I've shown you, successful companies have made the change in order to stay, flexible and keep growing. And see beyond today, respond to the challenges of the market that you anticipate that are coming, right? So that's what I would do. And then would you rather transform or go bankrupt, right? You want to make sure that your company stays viable. That's what this whole thing is about, the pivoting. You want to make sure that you're listening to your customers, that you are reimagining your business to fit the times and the situations and the challenges, that you've aligned everything like I discussed. And very important, make sure that everybody that you're connected to, your partners, your clients, your customers, your vendors, your suppliers, that you're staying connected with all of them, that you're keeping those relationships, fresh and, and warm, and communicate to everybody. You can never over communicate. So communicate so you stay top of mind, and be prepared to make that pivot again, just like Nokia changed so many different times. Today's need is one thing, and 2 years down the road, it might be completely different. So be willing to pivot again. And remember, success is not a straight line. It's never a straight line. It looks like that from the outside. It looks like the wood pulp mill owner just went from, the wood pulp mill all the way to Nokia and selling it for 7.7 billion. But you know that he probably had a lot of challenges along the way, a lot of different challenges that made him pivot. So know that success is not a straight line. It means that as an entrepreneur, you're going to face a lot of challenges, but at the end of it, your focus is on success and you can make that happen. I hope this was useful. I am now going to turn it over to Yvette Uriondo, who's going to talk to you about the financial aspects of staying sustainable. And at the end, we'll open it up to question and answers. Go ahead. You're on mute, Yvette. Yvette, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. I think we all have a tendency to do that every now and then. So I'll try to go as swiftly as I can because I know that we're pressed for time. My name is Yvette Uriondo, and I'm a business consultant with the Phoenix MBDA Business Center. And I have a business administration background in finance and operations and construction management, property management. And my experience includes business development, financial consulting, IT, and business startups. So let's go to the next slide. So the 7 topics I will be covering today touch on a mere fraction of business financials. I would say it's more of a compressed perspective on what can make a business financially resilient and sustainable. Quite honestly, we could spend 8 hours on each point alone, but I'll try to do this in 20 minutes or less. Next slide, please. Managing small business finances also means managing cash flow to ensure a business is operating at a healthy level on a day-to-day basis. If a company is struggling to collect from certain clients or customers, it may be time to get creative on billing them. Managing finances can be a challenge for any business owner. Let's face it, the reason a business is successful is because of the skills you bring to making a product or providing a service. But if you don't have a lot of experience with managing business finances, it can feel like a chore, and you could slip into bad financial habits that can harm your business. The most important step for any business owner is to educate themselves by understanding basic skills needed to run a business, like doing simple accounting tasks, applying for a loan, or drafting financial statements. Business owners can create a stable financial future. It's impossible to overstate the importance and benefit of properly tracking your financial information throughout the year. In addition to financial education, staying organized is a major component of sound money management. So let's get started. Next slide, please. When you own a business, it's easy to put receivables back into your day-to-day operation and not pay yourself. That extra capital can go a long way in helping a business grow, but because business owners shouldn't overlook their own role in the company and should compensate themselves accordingly. They don't normally pay themselves in the very beginning. You want to ensure that your business and personal finances are in good shape. Many business owners, especially at the beginning, choose not to pay themselves. They believe it's more important to, get the business up and running and pay everyone else. Don't neglect compensating yourself. Remember, you are part of the business and you need to compensate yourself as much as you pay others. Income also shows ability to pay back loans, both personally and in business. This all ties into qualifying for a business line of credit or a loan. Next slide. In addition to paying yourself, it's important to set aside funds for growth opportunity. Make it part of your best practices. This type of set aside also allows a business to thrive and move in a healthy financial direction. Business owners should always keep an eye on the future. Set a percentage of the receivables aside for those purposes. A business that wants to sustain their valued clients, grow, innovate, and attract the best employees will demonstrate that they're willing to invest in the future of a company and its employees. Your employees are the boots on the ground. In most businesses, employees do the hard work and are in constant contact with the customer. Employees, to me, are like, the goose that lays the golden egg. They may have innovative ideas, creative ideas, and they work closely with the clients. They've developed a good relationship with them. They work smarter sometimes and faster, and may see something that you're missing. Hold staff meetings, keep them informed, learn from them. They will appreciate that you're investing in the company and value them, and ultimately you'll create more value for the business. Next slide. Cash flow projections are tricky, and it also depends on a company's billing strategy. Every business owner has a client that's consistently late on payments. Managing business finances also means managing cash flow to ensure your business is operating at a healthy level on a day-to-day basis. If you're struggling to collect from certain customers, it may be time to get creative and with how you bill them to improve cash flow. But here too, is the time to build stronger relationships with your clients. You want them to have an understanding of the importance of your being paid. It's difficult to project cash flow if you have too much cash tied up in unpaid invoices. Unpaid invoices, your receivables, are the most common cash flow problem, which is the leading cause of business failure. If you have a chronic late paying customer, which at times we all do, instead of badgering them with repeated invoicing and phone calls, suggest a different approach. Have them consider other payment options, changing the payment terms to to 210 net 30. This means that if the customer pays the invoice within 10 days, they receive a 2% discount off the total bill. If not, the terms will remain full payment due on 30 days. And don't be afraid to consider charging interest on late payments over 30 days either. Again, building strong relationship with your clients will encourage timely payment. Next slide. This is one thing that I can't stress enough. If you have trouble paying your quarterly estimated tax payments, change the payment frequency and make monthly payments instead. This way, you can treat tax payments like any other monthly operating expense. I happen to recommend this payment method the most. Failing to pay business taxes will hurt finances, credit, and puts the business in jeopardy. If the IRS places a tax lien on a company or a person, it can be devastating, and you should do everything you can to avoid it. Any tax lien is considered very negative and will cause your credit score to drop, which in turn will cause loan applications to be denied. Also, keep in mind that the more loans you apply for, the lower your credit score goes. Typically, a business tax lien shouldn't affect your personal credit report or scores unless you are a sole proprietor, in which case you and your business are one. There are times, however, when the IRS will hold a business owner liable personally for the debt of a company. If the IRS attempts to do this to you, you'll want to get advice from a tax attorney immediately, because a tax lien can be devastating and you should do everything you can to avoid it. It is imperative to set aside time each week to closely monitor your business finances. Even if you're working with a bookkeeper, it allows you to become more familiar with financial transactions of your business and aids in preventing financial crime. Also, do not neglect reconciliation, doing your bank reconciliation, sometime each month. You must remember to do that and review outstanding invoices. A trail of every check and credit should be systematic, and failing to do this, especially if a bookkeeper is involved, opens up the business to wasteful spending. It's critical to maintain business financials in good standing. Develop a financial plan so that every dollar that comes in flows seamlessly through all the proper channels. Good practices will help build creditworthiness. This year, the word pandemic is synonymous with the word financial loss across the nation. Hard lessons were learned through the application for the Paycheck Protection Program loan and the Economic Injury Disaster loan, the EIDL loan. Companies that were in extreme debt, struggled with their financial reports, or whose income showed a loss were denied these much needed funds. Throughout the country, business owners also learned the importance of building a relationship with their banking institution. A reason being is that those who had a relationship were regularly updated on loan availability, the types of loans out there, and their loan status when they applied for this financial aid. I generally encourage working closely with your financial institution. Develop relationships with skilled money managers, accountants, or bookkeepers, to design financial systems that assure revenue ends up where you want it and when you need it. Next slide is focus on expenditure. There you go. Thank you. Measuring expenditures and the return on investment can give you a clear picture of what investments make sense and which may not be worth continuing. Business owners must be vigilant of where they spend their hard-earned money at all times and make wise choices. Focus on the return on investment that comes with each and every expenditure. Not doing this means that you can lose money on irrelevant or bad spending decisions. Know where your hard-earned dollars are and how the money is being spent. If it isn't paying off, cut back and spend a bit more on the initiatives that do work for you and the company. Next slide. Set up good financial habits. Establishing internal financial protocols, even if it's As simple as blocking out some time to review and update financial information can go a long way in protecting the financial health of your business. I will continue to repeat this. Keep up with business finances, and keeping up with them can help you mitigate risk. Business owners are often strapped for time and money and have inferior technological capabilities. But you shouldn't prevent a business owner, but it shouldn't prevent a business owner from implementing some sort of an internal control. This is especially important if you have employees. As I mentioned before, it is imperative to set aside time to monitor your finances at all times. Weak financial controls can lead a company into legal problems if an owner and an employee is not abiding to a certain law. With respect to cutting costs and reducing expenses, try to identify and prioritize those areas that are essential to your business. Make a list, pros and cons, what's essential, where can you cut costs. Some businesses have considered things like compromising their workspace by subletting unused spaces, or sharing a mutual space, office space, selling off unused equipment, cutting unnecessary equipment rental. Look for cost-effective, office supplies. Do some comparative pricing where possible, but reduce expenses wisely. Don't ever compromise on client service and quality. And my least favorite of all is laying off employees. There are times when this just isn't an option, but a necessity to keep a business operating. Keep in mind, wherever you save, be sure to allocate funds to making extra payments on business taxes, loans, and company credit cards, so your business debt doesn't pile up. Even if you're great with budgeting your personal, life, once you step into the corporate world, it becomes all the more important. Next slide. Lastly, there will always be business issues that need to be addressed. But when it comes to your finances, please consider your options. It's critical to plan for the future and give serious thought to business financials and business succession. So let me leave you with some rapid fire thoughts for the future and some what ifs. And I can share these with you, via email. And these are, pretty interesting items, food for thought. So do you have a plan B, C, or D, and what do those contingency plans look like for your business? Do you have a pivot strategy in place for the company? Alika went through, several examples. In the event of a lawsuit or an accident, what is the business worth? Do you have the proper insurance coverage in place? What happens if you become disabled or you can no longer work? Is that part of your business plan? What happens to your business or your employees? How will the bills be paid? Both business and personal. Who will run the business? What rights to the company does your business partner have? And if you're married, is your spouse ready to run the company with your business partner? These are just a few questions to consider. So don't just look to the immediate financial future. Look 5 or more years ahead. Remember to modify your business plan as needed. detail how the company will be financially run, who will run the company, and how it will stay ahead of the competition. And don't forget to include succession planning. Become resilient and sustain the business. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for this presentation. It's really good information, and I have a couple of questions from Facebook and the audience. This question is for Alika. Somebody's asking, can we consider the pandemic as a preparation period for a new company or a new service, just to that you can do it, you cannot do it right now, but you can promote it? I mean, can you basically still promote it even though you can not provide the service?
Yes, actually, that's a very good question. And I've had some companies actually approach me. One of them, for example, wanted to start a yoga studio. Well, people are isolating and not going out in person, right? So the yoga studio is not a great business to start at this moment. Another one was doing a self-care spa kind of thing. So what you do when you have that kind of business idea and you really want to get it started, this is a great time to actually prep and lay the foundation. So my recommendation to them was start creating the buzz about it. Show yourself as the expert in that particular field, right? So for example, the one who wanted to do the personal care spa, I said, start a blog and start, talking about how to take care of themselves, how to take care of your mental space, physical space, whatever. Become the expert on the subject matter so people come to you. You can start talking about the spa that, and you don't have to start talking about the spa or your product that you're planning to have, but you can start establishing yourself as the expert and do the blog or provide newsletters or whatever, where you're sending information, or your how-tos, you're posting how-tos, whatever. A lot of people use video now on YouTube to help promote some of their, maybe their skills or techniques or whatever it is. So start, setting the foundation. So when you're ready to actually open the physical business, when the time is right, people already know you're the expert and they're happy to come and, they're going to be excited. You're finally opening up something. They're going to be asking you to open up, right? So create that kind of a buzz, become the expert in that matter. And this is a good time. Start building your connections. Who are you going to need to help promote your business? Start building those relationships, start building your network, start building your, the distribution channels, whatever it is that you need. This is a great time when times are slow to actually set the foundation, because once the business starts, most business owners end up just spending the entire day putting out fires. They don't work on their business when really they should be doing that all along. But this is the perfect time to actually work on that business and build that solid foundation. So when you finally roll it out, it's, at peak performance.
Thank you.
If I can just share a little bit of something and add to that, if I may, if we've got a little bit of time, and this is just something that I experienced. So I go to the Zumba class. Everyone was getting into this whole Zumba thing. So I of course the place had to close down. So this woman became, talk about forward thinking. She decided to announce on Eventbrite when she was going to have the classes, and in there you would have to pay to attend your session, your yoga class. And so of course, if you didn't pay, you don't have access to doing it at home, right? And so once you would make your payment, you'd get access to it. And then the trainer was actually doing the Zumba classes from his home, and had this, this home like a Brady Bunch thing with everybody doing the Zumba on their Zoom screen. And they continue to do that, and it's the most wonderful thing for them, and they absolutely love it. So that was a way to to pivot how they were providing that business.
So one more question for you, Yvette. one of the ladies is asking me, how do you specify employees versus contractors? So sometimes like she has part-time employees and sometimes she hires people for any specific task.
Uh-huh.
And-
Right. So if the person is on her payroll and they are working, whether it's part-time or full-time, then that of course is an employee and that's a W-2. But if she has someone that she is not going to bring in full-time and she has them working as a 1099 employee, so they're paying for their own, expenses and healthcare and so on, and just providing, time and material, and that's how they're going to bill her, in a sense, then, that's not an employee, that's a 1099, and so that's how you differentiate the two.
Thank you. And one more, how does your business manage the small transactions? I mean, she is having a hard time when she spends money in tiny bit things that are related to the business. How do you keep up with petty cash transactions?
With petty cash transactions, well, it really depends on, what she has allocated to, to set aside for that. That's really, hard to gauge. And maybe I'm not understanding the question clearly, but I would need just a little bit more, information in order for me to answer that correctly.
Thank you. And what is the best way to keep your, like the communication with your accountant or the bookkeeper?
You need to make them understand that you mean business. You want to know where every single penny is going at all times. You have to show the interest in it because you want to be very vigilant. You want to keep an eye on what the bookkeeper is doing and what they're coding, funds to. So you've got to keep a close watch on that because in the end, it's all going to come out on your profit and loss statement. And whether it's the bookkeeper that's going to be doing the taxes or you have a separate accountant, you want to make sure that every penny is being allocated to the proper expense at the end of the year or at the end of each quarter, which is where, what you should be, properly, looking to. So I recommend that you look at your finances. If you can do it daily, go for it. That's my feeling, because if I have someone that's touching money that's coming in for the business to pay the rent, to pay employees and healthcare and so on, I want to make sure where that money is going because I am responsible for other people.
Thank you so much. I think this is very, very useful information. And I want to thank you for your time, ladies, for being here today. And I want to just take like the last minute of this session to introduce Indira, that she is going to talk about the pitch competition that we're doing with Dream Builder.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, ladies. I'm just going to share really quick. Can you give me access? And the pitch competition for Dream Builders is for those participants that have registered for Dream Builder this year. It is for the 22 graduates, and this competition is for the states of Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, and Texas. And I'm just gonna share really quick can you see it?
Yes.
The flyer that we have right now. So what we want is to give an incentive to all our Dream Builder participants of this year. We would like you, if you haven't registered, to register, and you just need to go to www.dreambuilder.org and complete your program before September 30th. We will have 5 finalists, and the The competition date is October 7th. What do you need to do? You just need to go to our website, Dream Builder, and from there, just give me 1 second. I just need to show you really quick where you can go into the post. And from the post, it is very easy to complete the format. This is the post. It is one, actually, we are posting it every day. You just need to complete the sign up form, your name, your address, and send a 2-minute pitch video to dreambuilder@hsu.edu. With that, we will receive your form. We also will receive your video. And if you are qualified to be one of our 5 finalists, we will give you a call. The interesting thing of this competition is, I'm sorry about that. Oh, sorry, I lost it. Is that we have prizes in cash, and also we have some professionals that they are volunteering their time. We have accountants, we have attorneys, we have also marketing professionals that they will give up to 10 hours for whoever is the finalist of their services. So please register. And if you have any questions, you can contact us through our social media, or you can send an email to dreambuilder@hsu.edu. Thank you, Dinora.
Thank you. And thank you again, Alika and Yvette, for being with us today. And we'll talk to you
It
soon.
was a pleasure. It was a
Thank you.
pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.